Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show, where we get to the heart of why you overeat and how to stop. If you struggle with food and weight like I did, welcome home. Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show. It is a great day to be alive. Thank you for joining me here today. I've got a great topic for you. If you haven't jumped over to the Heal Your Hunger tribe on Facebook, please make sure to do that. I have to always remind you, I know, because sometimes you get busy and you intend to do it, but you don't do it. So if you want to continue the conversation that you hear here on the Heal Your Hunger show, if you want to get really cool access to cool interviews with experts, health experts and life mastery experts, if you want to be a part of some of the fun events that we have online, please join us there, the Heal Your Hunger tribe. Just go to Facebook, type it in, request to join. It's only for those of us who get what it's like to be powerless over a Twinkie. Nobody eats Twinkies anymore, right? Okay, powerless over a muffin or a health bar maybe. Jump over to the Heal Your Hunger tribe and join us. Now, on to today's topic. I'm really excited about today's topic because I think it's a problem for so many emotional eaters, and it's both a cause of emotional eating and it's a result of emotional eating, and that's why this is so important. So the topic is indecision and the erosion of self-esteem, which leads to emotional eating, and of course emotional eating erodes self-esteem as well. But I want to talk about this because it's been a big problem for me in my life. Oh my gosh, at one time in my life, for quite a while, I was plagued by indecision. When I had a decision to make, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. This is so scary. And I made it scary. And it was to the point where I felt like my decisions were so monumental and the consequences were so they were so enormous that I was paralyzed with fear, and I was terrified to make a decision. And then what did I do? I ate, right? I just thought, this is too much for me. The stress is getting to me, and I would bury my head in the sand, otherwise known as food. So, and that of course just resulted in more indecision and more lack of clarity and more immobilization by fear. So if you relate to that in any way, shape, or form, if you've been really just crippled by decisions you had to make and fear of making those decisions and feeling like you really can't find your way out to understand what decision you should make, I want to just bring some calm and peace to you right now. I want to tell you that it's all going to be okay. And in fact, your decisions aren't as big a deal as you might make them out to be. And but I know in the moment it doesn't feel that way. So I want to show you how to get to that place of calm and peace, to get to that place of feeling like, no big deal. Because this is the journey I've been on. And so I want to share it with you. So if you definitely are somebody who relates to being indecisive, I want to give you a quote that I love, and it's by Napoleon Hill. And he said, "Indecision, doubt, and fear. The members of this unholy trio are closely related. Where one is found, the other two are close at hand." And he's talking about indecision, doubt, and fear. And that's true, right? Whenever we're afraid, it's harder to make decisions. Whenever we're self-doubtful, we're not strong in our convictions. And when we're indecisive, it's driven by doubt and fear, I believe. So how do we get through this? What do we do? The first thing to realize is that, indecision is costing you. Okay. Indecision does lead to overeating. When we're afraid, when we're gripped with that worry and that feeling that, our decisions are so consequential, we run for cover in food. So that's probably the number one reason why we have to address this and move through it. But also, I will tell you that overeating leads to indecision as well, because when your head is muddled, when you're filled with sugar and carbs and you're in that terrible, carb coma, sugar hangover, or just in general, if you're snacking all the time and you're a grazer, guess what? You're basically on drugs all the time, okay? Like your head is filled with chemicals, it's filled with addictive substances like sugar and carbs, which metabolizes sugar. So your head is foggy, it's not clear, and you don't know what your truth is. And this is why overcoming emotional eating is so vital, because you're living in this brain fog constantly when you're overeating constantly, when you're eating the wrong foods. And not only the effect of food, but the effect of hating yourself for eating the food, right? I mean, we don't just fill our bodies with crap, unhealthy foods that clog our minds, and make our bodies feel sluggish and sick and inflamed. But on top of that, we have that terrible self-recrimination of, why did I do that? Why can't I get a grip? What's wrong with me? I can't believe I ate that. I feel so sick. I don't want to go to the party. I don't want to be seen. On and on and on. So we're compounding the physical effects of our food with the emotional effects of overeating. And who could make a decision under those circumstances? Who could be clear under those circumstances? So much of the time we eat and we don't really think about what overeating really is doing to our psyche, but it erodes our self-esteem in every way, shape, or form. It brings us down. It makes us feel bad about ourselves. It makes us feel less than other people. And it makes us feel very doubtful in our decisions, And so that's a lot of where the the fear of indecision comes from. So for all reasons, you got to address emotional eating. You've got to address emotional eating. And I want to help you do that. That's what Heal Your Hunger is all about. But to the immediate point of indecision, it's really, really important to know that, so much of the time for me, my indecision came from this belief of sort of an inflated sense of my importance, okay, which is ego. So my ego said that my decision is so, consequential. What I decide is going to impact so many different things in my life that it's all up to me. Okay. And this is the perspective that I would get into, and it would cause me to feel so worried and so paralyzed with fear when I believed that my decisions were so consequential. And the fact is, they're not. They just are not. I am not that powerful. So it's sort of like I was God in my life. I was playing God. I was like, my decision will impact so many people and so many things. And if I make the wrong decision, the world will come to an end. So, that's basically making myself out to be God. When in fact, God has got everything under control. And whatever decision I make, right or wrong, were there such a thing as right and wrong, every decision I make, God weaves it into my life. He makes it he makes everything work together for good. There's a quote in the Bible, I think, about, all things work together for good for those who love God. Well, that I believe that. I believe, and I've seen it in my life, that things that I thought were mistakes, decisions I made, when I look back, I see that there was quite a lot of order to the thing, even though in the immediate, perhaps it didn't work out the way I wanted it to work out. But I'm sure you can look back in your life too and see, wow, that turn in the road, even though it was bumpy for a little while, worked out for the best. Either it led me to a new job or a new relationship, or to end a relationship, or to learn a new skill, or, it's just, God is so marvelous and magical, and can weave our bad decision, our error decisions, into something beautiful and wonderful, to where we grow and learn. That's the way to look at things, is to take the roads we've taken, and look back and see that they do work together for good, even though there was pain. And I don't think we could live our lives without pain. I think it's just, it's part of our curriculum here, is to go through bumpy times and to then come out the other side and learn from them. That's really the key, is to find the lessons in them. So, regarding right and wrong decisions, one of the things that might be able to help you let yourself off the hook is something my husband told me many years ago, which are there are no wrong answers. There are no wrong answers and there are no wrong decisions. And that goes to what I was just saying. The fact is, everything works together for good. And so, whatever decision you make, you will learn from it. Another thing my husband told me, he said, Tricia, make a decision, get a result, evaluate the result. If you don't like the result, make a different decision and get another result. And that's all decisions are. They're actions we take, they're decisions we make, and then hopefully follow it up by action, which will produce a result. So we make decisions based on, we do our best to make a decision based on the information that we have. If it doesn't feel good, if we don't like the results, we make a new decision. We pull out, we say, okay, that's the wrong path. We take a new path, or we, work on the path we chose, and we, work it out. But whatever it is, it produces a result. We evaluate this result. So there's no wrong decisions. They're just actions that have consequences, and we get to decide what consequences we want, and if it turns out they're different than we planned, we can make a new decision. And I found that very comforting. It helped me sort of let myself off the hook, and helped me to realize there are no wrong decisions. Like, there's no wrong answers. And I found that so comforting for me. I've been in a situation right now where I am needing to make a decision. And so I haven't been, racked with fear or worry, but I have been in a place where the decision isn't made. And so what I've done is I have, and what I like to do is I'm in the gathering information phase, where I am talking to people, I'm making phone calls, reaching out to people who can give me counsel, who can share their experience. I've been doing that for about a week. I purchased a book on Amazon that one of the people I called recommended to me. I bought the book. I've been reading the book, which has given me some insight. And I'm coming up to a point of needing to make the decision. So I've been talking to several people, and so that helps me. Writing has helped me, and praying, of course. I find prayer to be so helpful. But I've been in that place of not being 100% sure, which is hard. But what I'm going to have to do is make a decision in spite of, not knowing for sure what the right decision is for me. And again, like I just told you, I will make a decision and I'll get a result, and then I'll evaluate the result. But the important thing is that I collect information and I get still and quiet. And what I like to say, I use the formula of write about it, talk about it, pray about it, and then take action. So I may not be 100% sure on this one. It's a big decision, but I'll make a decision and take action and live with the consequences, and I think that's another reason why we are, as emotional eaters, so indecisive, is we don't want to feel any pain. we don't want to feel pain, and we don't want to feel regret. And I know for myself that was so true. I was so afraid of regretting my decisions. I was so afraid of the beating I would give myself. I lived in so much regret, and I think I came by this honestly. My mother really just took the cake on this. She was, when I was growing up, she just, she would overthink, and she would regret her, certain paths she had taken, not paths, but decisions she made, or, situations with relationships, or circumstances. And then she would mull it over, and she'd just shake her head and say, I really shouldn't have done that. And she'd vocalize it. And so I lived with a lot of, experience of her regret. And she has a good life. She's an amazing woman. I love her. More than anybody on the planet, I think, besides my husband. But she was plagued by regret, and she beat herself up so much. And I think this is a very typical thing for emotional eaters, is that we make a decision and then we doubt our decisions, and then we flagellate ourselves. and blame ourselves and regret the decisions and wonder. We torture ourselves with wonder of whether it was the right decision and whether we should have done something different. And this is the pain of decision making for us. It causes indecision because we don't want to go through that terrible time of self-recrimination and self-doubt. So what I say is make a decision and live with the consequences and know that God is working things out for your highest and best good, and you can make a new decision. Okay, but this thing of regret is so useless. It's completely useless. It's like speaking. So much of the time we're afraid to speak up because we flagellate ourselves over what we've said and we wish we hadn't said, or it came out wrong or whatever, and so we don't speak up because, again, we judge ourselves and the decisions. Speaking is a decision. We decide to speak up and vocalize what we feel, and if we're judging ourselves and flagellating ourselves for what we say, we experience the same, pain that we put ourselves through when we make decisions of action as well. So don't beat yourself up. Don't put yourself through that. That's not fair. You do the best you can with the information you have, and you move forward and you live with the consequences. And you make new decisions so that you can change those consequences as well. But this self-doubt and self-regret is so harmful, and it's really important that you just really are sweet to yourself and congratulate yourself for making the decision. If you've been indecisive, give yourself support. When you make a decision, and say, good job for making a decision, not that was a dumb decision, or maybe that was the wrong decision. Give yourself, it's time as emotional eaters that we become our own friends and stop being at cross purposes with ourselves. We are our worst enemy. We think other people are against us. We think we're the victim of other people's mistreatment. But I'm telling you, nobody has mistreated me as much as I have. By self-doubt, by, doubting my decisions, beating myself up for my decisions, torturing myself thinking I coulda, shoulda, woulda made a different decision. So pat yourself on the back that you made a decision. Make decision-making a celebration, of an action. Decisive action is so, so powerful. And most of all, I will say, trust God, okay? Trust that God will guide you to the right and perfect decision, and then to the right and perfect outcomes, and pray for that, and if it doesn't happen right away, pray for more guidance and more clarity. So important. Meditation and prayer are so vital for me in order to get clear. And so, if you don't have some kind of self-care routine in the morning that includes getting still and quiet and seeking that inner knowing, this is vital for emotional eaters. If you know anything about me and my work, it's all about that. Like, we have to get still and quiet and hear our inner voice. So much of the time when we're indecisive, we do go and ask a whole bunch of people, and we want people to tell us the answers. Talk to people to gather information, but come back to yourself. Seek the guidance within. That is where divine spirit lives, is within us. That's why stopping overeating is so important to gaining clarity. God is always guiding us. That still small voice, that beautiful spirit inside of us, is always guiding us if we will listen. And that's the important thing. If we're making decisions based on ego, based on self-will, based on fear, it's likely not going to turn out the way we want it to, or to our highest and best good. So make sure you're going within. Make sure you're seeking your divine wisdom, because that can be depended on every single time. So I hope that's helpful. Again, there are no wrong answers, but there are more enlightened answers. So no more indecision, okay? Decide now. Try it on little things that aren't hugely monumental or have big consequences. Start by making small decisions. Just practice making a decision and trusting that you're going to be okay. I find that indecision leads to indecision. So decisiveness leads to decisiveness. So practice making decisions. Stop letting somebody else decide where you're going to go eat. Stop letting somebody else determine how your day is going to go. Make some small decisions and feel what it's like. Feel that boost in self-esteem that you decided, that you made a decision, and go with it. And don't flagellate yourself afterwards and self-doubt, your decisions, and don't regret your decisions. Making a decision is to be celebrated, and always check in with yourself and with your higher power. So I hope this is helpful, super helpful for me to talk about it because of where I come from. I was plagued by indecision, and it really eroded my self-esteem, but I'm not that way today. And I am so grateful, and I want you to really move beyond indecision so you can feel more self-confident and more self-esteem, and really step out and be the person you're meant to be with conviction. Thanks so much for listening. Make sure to join the Heal Your Hunger tribe. I'll see you on the next show.
If you enjoyed this podcast and want to get free support, insider health info, exclusive invites to events, and more, visit healyourhunger.com.